What's going on, everybody? Nick from 618 Fishing here, and today I will be starting yet another new series, and in this one I will be hand making fishing lures. And I just dropped everything on the ground. Let's get to it. For this first lure, I have a pretty good idea inside my head of what I want to make, so the first step is to actually try to transfer that onto a piece of paper, then eventually onto a block of wood. I'm pretty happy with how these sketches turned out, and as you guys could see, the first lure in the Homemade Lure Challenge is a topwater rattlesnake. The next step will be to actually transfer this onto a block of wood. I am pretty much done shaping the rattlesnake. I've been working on it the past few days, and I'm liking how it's turning out so far. I did do a little detail work on the head, but still a lot of work to do. I have to do all the scales, and I have not started on the rattle yet. I am going to move on to what is most likely going to be the most time-consuming thing on this bait, which is the scales. Okay guys, so I've been working on the scales on the body for a while now, and I think they turned out pretty cool. I also did the underside of the snake. I think that looks really good. So I'm gonna focus my attention on the scales on the head. I'm a little bit nervous about this part. I don't wanna mess anything up, but I'm gonna get to it. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it looks really, really cool. The next step will be making the mold box to pour the silicone in. For this, I'm just gonna use foam board. The next step is going to be to mix up the silicone and add it to the mold box. So I've got the mold out of the foam board, and it's actually looking pretty good. It's one uniform color, which is promising. The next step will be to remove the wood carving from the inside of the mold. I managed to retrieve my wooden carving. This thing actually turned out pretty good, but the real test will be when I go to pour the resin, and that's gonna be the next step. I've got the first prototype resin cast out of the mold and it looks pretty good. There's a couple things I need to work on, but overall, I'm happy about it and it looks very similar in appearance to the original carving. That's a good thing. From here, there's a couple things I need to clean up from the casting process, then it's gonna go on to the testing. Well guys, here we are. It's been about a month, but I finally have my first prototype rattlesnake completed. It started from this piece of paper that I transferred to a block of wood and eventually carved into this rattlesnake. From there, I made a silicone mold that I was able to pour resin into to make this. Then I chopped it up, added some hardware, and it's ready to be tested. This right here is very temporary. I could actually take this completely apart, and that's the way I made it. So if I don't like the action, I could certainly take it apart and adjust it need be, but I'm excited to start some testing. Okay guys, here we go. The maiden voyage of the rattlesnake. It's actually not bad though. The tail's got a good movement to it. Overall, I'm gonna call the maiden swim a success, but I'm gonna make a few modifications and test it out again. I'm back in the shop and there's a couple modifications I want to do to the lure, but I'm going to do them one at a time so I can see how they each individually affect the action of the bait. The first thing I'm going to do is, if you look at the bait, this middle connection, the gap is quite a bit smaller compared to the other ones. So I'm going to take this apart and sand down one of the sides so that there's more wiggle room right there, and that should improve the action quite a bit. Okay, right off the bat, I could tell it definitely is an improvement. The action did improve, but there's still some room for improvement. So the next thing I'm gonna change up is the bill. The one I had on there is fairly large and pretty square. So I'm gonna change that off to a more rounded bill that is also smaller, and see if that improves the action. After countless hours of testing and modifying, I was finally happy with the action of the bait. So I went ahead, I made 4 exact replicas of that prototype bait, and they are ready to be tested. I don't know exactly where to start. I began this video a year and a half ago. My intentions were to actually start making and selling fishing lures, but in the process, I became overwhelmed and I've been putting it off. A year and a half has passed with pretty much no progress being made. So I am not quite ready to start selling fishing lures, but I am very excited to show you guys how these rattlesnakes turned out because I am very proud of them and I'm tired of keeping it a secret and not sharing it with you guys. Here they are. I have 4 completed rattlesnakes. I have another 4 that are almost completed. They just have a little bit more paint and epoxy to go, but they are pretty much done. I could not be any more pleased with how these turned out. The action far surpassed any of my expectations. I think they look incredible in the water, and the paint I'm actually very happy with. So I was very nervous going into this video because I feel like I kind of gave up on it, but after editing the video and sort of looking at the footage, I have about 1 terabyte of footage that I was going through. I'm actually very proud of how everything turned out. So I'm not closing the door completely on possibly selling fishing lures in the future. I may sell some of these, but for now, I'm actually going to give 2 of these rattlesnakes away. So if you guys are interested, follow me on Instagram and leave a comment on this video. I will get in contact with you guys and ship these out to you as soon as possible. But I appreciate you guys, even though you didn't really know much about this aside from the 618fishing.com at the end of my videos. I appreciate you guys being patient with me with this whole ordeal. So I'm looking forward to this new chapter of making fishing lures because it was a lot of fun to make these, and the whole selling them kind of overwhelmed me, but I'm finally ready to get back to it. So definitely look forward to more homemade fishing lure videos in the future. But for now, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching. I will catch you on the next one.